around 7 a.m. The fourth strongest solar flare, M, is ranked by scientists among five-lettered categories. Larger outbursts are represented by higher numbers within each category. The interaction of the magnetized particles with Earth's magnetosphere is expected to create a class geomagnetic storm.
How are you? Oh my gosh, took me by
rainbow
surprise this time a little bit, kind of a little bit.
China.
I knew I was.
A video out of China shows a
I hope
striking
everyone
cloud
is
formation in the sky.
I hope everyone's doing well.
Hues.
Let me shut the news off real quick.
Colored cloud report.
Oh, that was interesting. Did you guys see the cloud that happened in China? It looked like a multi-tiered rainbow slinky almost. It was pretty cool. We got a lot to talk about, guys. We're getting DJ in the mix here tonight. We're bringing him in. He's one of our resident experts, on what goes on and what's been going on in Iraq. We all, I'm sure right now, have heard about what's happened in Iraq. I followed it only a little bit. I watched a couple of different little clips about it, read an article about it. The Shia and the Sunni are going at it again. Surprise, surprise. Well, it's led to some really difficult situations over there inside the green zone. I didn't even know that the green zone was still a thing, but it is. So we're going to get DJ on. He's going to discuss that with us. Now, I do want to quickly, before we do bring DJ in here, I'm going to be monitoring our stream to make sure that I see when he's trying to join. The market crash. Okay, the market crash. The market is crashing. All right, now relax. Hold on a second. It's not that bad. Okay, it's definitely selling off. Is it crashing? Is it gonna be like 1929? No. Don't be stupid. That's not going to happen. Is it going to pull back 80%? No. Relax. That's not going to happen. Is it going to pull back 50%? There was a guy I heard the other day, and I'm going to leave his name out of it because sometimes I like his videos, and I don't want to be rude, but there was a guy who was on another program that I was watching, and he was calling for at least a 50% pullback in the market around the Jewish high holy days, Rosh Hashanah in October, around there. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Okay. We've not even seen a 30% correction at this point or pullback. DJ, what's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, bro.
All right, perfect. What's up, all?
We're just in the middle. I'm discussing the market crash right now, and I told the guys how we're gonna get you on here and talk all about what's going on inside of Iraq. Give us an update on what's going on with Kirshen and all that geopolitical stuff. So
okay,
it's really interesting to see, DJ, because I was just saying how there was a guy, and this is one of many charlatans that I see out there, talking about the financial system, how it was going to collapse and pull back to the 1929 stock crash levels and this and that, 80% pullback on the DJI, and oh my gosh, the world's going to end. No. All right, relax. Calm down. It's not going to happen. All right. I really do think that we are going to see a little bit more of a sell-off in the market, and then things will start to, level out. Okay. And then in my personal opinion, by Christmas, we're going to see another rally, hopefully. What caused this market pullback? We were flying high into a last week, and then what you had Jackson Hole Summit. You had the Fed Chairman Powell come out, make some very hawkish comments, and he said that we're not going to stop and we're not going to, pause rate hikes or anything like that. And the market really lost its shit. Now it did be nice. I like it. And the market lost its shit about that. It really shouldn't have. I mean, I think we all kind of knew that they weren't going to pause the rate hikes, but listen, enough about that. All you guys really need to know, because I know that you guys want to get right to the point here, is what's actually happening. Save me of the financial jargon. Fine. It's going to be fine. We're going to have a lot of pain. Your IRAs and all of your asset classes are going to diminish like practically to zero, and then they'll go up from there. So don't sell them. Not financial advice. Don't sell them. Hang on to them. By 2025, we'll probably be in safe territory again. So that's where I'm saying about relax, always calm down. Now let's look at the solar flares that have been happening. There have been a lot of solar flares. As you guys know, on Instagram, I constantly am posting the news. Right now I'm being shadow banned, so we're at Gutter Fighting Secrets backup page, all right? Gutter Fighting Secrets backup page. Follow us on there at Gutter Fighting Secrets backup for the news, because the New World Order has forced us over there. We'll be there until we don't have to be. There has been solar flare after solar flare after solar flare hitting us. M-class solar flares, all right? So, not small ones. Not huge ones, not X-class solar flares, but M-class solar flares have just been bombarding us. And it's been difficult to really put them all on the news story because there's been so many. So if you guys have noticed any of like little cell phone difficulties or technology shit, like that's what's been happening. It's, they won't admit this, but it really does, as DJ can attest to, cause radio blackouts and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
What I've been tracking, the financial systems, the solar flares. DJ, what's going on in Iraq right now?
So yeah, it's been a little spicy the last couple of days. With the Iraqi government, again, kind of multiple parties at play in the leadership roles within the country, and the primary Shia opposition group, which Iraq is majority Sunni. Shia influence comes from Iran, among a couple of other countries around Iraq, and Iraq has a Shia minority, but the primary Shia government establishment in opposition leader retired. He just left, citing claims of massive corruption within the government and things like that, which really isn't anything new for that part of the world, as we know. But with his retirement, a lot of the Iranian-backed instigators and supporters in the country basically just started rioting, and the main Iraqi parliamentary complex in Baghdad was swarmed by these protest groups, kind of like what you were seeing with Arab Spring a couple of years ago, and back when Benghazi happened and everything. It's kind of what's going on in Iraq right now. All the contractor major with what U.S. military and coalition presence is still in Iraq. They've all locked down. Iraqi military and police forces have declared curfews, and they're just trying to restore order to what ability that they can. Kind of a messy situation, and the fact that these protesters were just practically openly able to get into the parliament complex, which is within the green zone in Baghdad, where a lot of contractors and U.S. personnel are and things like that, is problematic. Again, much like Arab Spring a couple of years ago. So everything's kind of locked down right now. U.S. Embassy evacuated some of its personnel there, basically down to the bare bones crew and then contractors that are there for the time being, and they're just kind of monitoring the situation. And I kind of mentioned this before, and in with emails with you, Will, and everything, that Iran, pretty much since we in large scaled back U.S. presence and influence within Iraq, the Iranians have been stepping in, apart from what we're seeing with the Daesh, ISIS, and other still active insurgent groups. The Iranians have been pushing in. There's Iranian militias openly operating within Iraqi borders, and their influence with the Shia population and just in operations overall has exponentially increased, to include Iranian missile strikes into Iraq, of which some were directed at contractor and U.S. personnel based facilities in northern Iraq and places like that a little while back. I know a lot of people saw some stuff on that. But those attacks have escalated, and the fact that they have so much free access and increased influence with Iraq right now. They're basically trying to take Iraq over through proxy, and it's a big issue. And the Iraqi government has its problems. Obviously, the first people that we put in through democratic vote back when I was in the military and I was there during the presidential election in 07, that didn't work out too well. And then another person came into power and this and that and this and that. And it's just been a little bit of an issue. They really need to get a better grasp of what's going on and just be better leaders and make better leadership decisions and everything else. The Iraqi police and military units in large are doing the right thing. Now, you do have Sunni and Shias together in these units. And even with some of these protests going on in the last couple of days, some of the Shia Iraqi military and police personnel are aiding the protesters. So that's not a really good image either, especially with how much equipment and everything else funding wise and everything else that we provided to them. They really need to take a harder stance against Iran, and they just need to do a better job of restoring the security and sovereignty of their country. So there's a lot of things at play, a lot of moving parts, a lot of different players involved, and yeah, it's going to be a continuing issue. So
yeah, I was hearing that, was it last week or the week before, a couple of our boys over in Iraq got injured by an Iranian missile attack on was that in Syria or was that in Iraq?
I believe that was northern Iraq, Erbil,
Yeah.
which is the capital of Kurdistan, or Kurdish Iraq in the north.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some missile attacks that had hit in Erbil. To what degree the Iranians have a capability of long-range missiles being fired from within Iran to hit Baghdad, that's a bit of a stretch because that's a pretty good clip. That's a good distance. Now, if they are moving these batteries into Iraq, which they could, yeah, it would escalate into something bigger. To what extent the current Iraqi government still has power and control over everything and can make decisions in getting the Iraqi military involved in fighting the Iranians and the militias that are already there and things like that. So that's yeah. But yeah, it was Erbil. I think it was one other northern Iraqi area, and I can't remember which one that was targeted as well. But those didn't seem to have as much effect as the attacks in Erbil. So
now we also saw today that Iran confiscated briefly one of our sea drones. I don't know if you heard about that yet, but do you know what exactly happened with that?
I don't know exactly what happened with that. I just heard that it happened. And I mean, if you remember a couple of years ago, it was a small Navy craft that was part of a larger group that was kind of moving in or around the Suez Canal, and the Iranians basically captured a U.S. vessel, small U.S. vessel with sailors on it, and there was photos of the sailors in captivity and things like that. Not the first time they've tried this kind of thing, and they like to, when it comes to their water, their territorial waters and those borders, they like to attack and sabotage vessels. They had attacked a Japanese flagged cargo freight vessel with a sea mine, I think right after that happened with our Navy vessel a couple of years ago. And that happens on and off. So as far as with the sea drone, I don't really know any details on that as of right now. Not all that much has come out about it yet. For obvious reasons, OPSEC and all that, and I guess they're still trying to figure out what happened. But yeah, I heard it happened, and nothing new for them, unfortunately. And why there was any leniency kind of proposed in the first place from our current administration on Iran just makes us doesn't make us look good. So
no, it certainly doesn't. John, what's going on, man? How are you, sir?
So
this is this administration is absolutely just what's the word I'm looking for? traitorist,
Traitorous. Yeah.
traitorist.
Yeah. It's, yeah. It is a bona fide double-edged sword with them, because they are finally now they're touting to be a little bit stronger, heavy-handed when it comes to China
Hmm.
and with the Russians and everything, but at the same time, they turn around and freaking do the opposite when it comes to other nations, like with Venezuela and talking about getting oil from them and everything else, and they're really bad. This administration is really bad at playing the game that they're playing compared to prior administrations. They're very bad at it, and it just makes us look bad, and it's just causing more problems for us and for our partners abroad. So,
Well, here's my concern is we spend too much attention looking at what's in front of our face right here, China and Russia, and we really don't pay enough attention to the threat lurking in the corner, which is jihadism, which is the Arab threat, which is,
the cartels.
yes, which is also, like you say, Venezuela and smaller countries like that would be forgotten if it wasn't every now and again that they pop up and say, we're still here. It's it's dangerous to ignore these things because the Arabs very much want to kill us still. The like you say, the cartels. I mean, I was just sent a video this morning of LPOPs set up on the Arizona border. The Sinaloa cartel literally has listening post, observation post with armed men with battle rattles and literally hundreds of yards from our American border. And they're just watching us. They're just watching the DHS guys. So, I mean, fucking absurd.
Yeah, they have snipers. They have snipers posted on their side of the border too, and the Homeland Security and then the Texas law enforcement riverine marine units that drive up and down the Rio Grande River. They're getting shot at almost daily by the cartels. Like they're getting shot at. They're actively engaging in firefights across the border. It's a problem. Not to mention Bortak, and then even some of the armed citizen groups down there on the border are getting in troops of contact here and there too. They're getting in fights too. You run across a coyote bringing people on. They're on the U.S. side now, and these coyotes, some of them got AKs and stuff, and they're letting out. And they're getting into fights, and it's only a matter of time before some U.S. citizens are killed, and it's going to escalate even more. But yeah, it's a huge problem down there. It really is. And when it comes to all the extremism and terrorism that's still prevalent, global war on terror has not ended. Even though people think the GWAT ends when we have that dog shit pull out of Afghanistan and everything. No, they ain't going away. It's getting worse in Africa. It's getting worse in the Middle East. It's getting worse in Southeast Asia. It's getting worse everywhere. Europe too. There's been attacks in Europe. People forget. Even that bow and arrow attacker in Norway, Danish expat that was radicalized and killed 7 people with a bow and arrow. It doesn't matter the methodology. The point of the matter is the extremism is there, the influence is there, and it's gonna keep happening. So we need to keep fighting it. Huge issue.
Well, today we had Joe Brandon come out, and he gave this whole speech. I didn't watch the speech, but I saw blurbs from it on my phone. He wants to ban all assault weapons. He's going to do everything he possibly can to get that done, and this and that and this and that. And the MAGA Republicans are extremist terrorists, and we have to kill them all. And he didn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing here. And
I mean, look at what DHS and the FBI and everyone has been doing now with all these. And it's been going on for a while, really, ever since the Patriot Act went into play. But you've seen that escalation again with these classifications of symbolism and images and all this other stuff being correlated to prepared citizens and Republicans and libertarians and everything. And it's just like they're trying to legitimize making one side of the political spectrum a bona fide enemy,
Mhm.
like an actual enemy, which is fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really an enemy that you'd want to have. Those types of people
No.
tend to be very well prepared and very well trained. Oh, I just gotta move something real quick. Yeah, thought I put that elsewhere. So I really don't think that that's a wise idea from the administration at all. But hey, I mean,
Right.
they're fucking stupid. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're evil. They're fucking evil. I mean, I'm gonna like watch what I say right now because I'm gonna get fired up and like, but I really do want to say this one thing before I shut the fuck up and let you talk for a second is 87,000 armed IRS agents additional, okay, additional, that we already have a bunch, is a fucking slap in the face to every single American family struggling out there.
Yeah, it is. It
Who do
is.
you think,
'Cause I
who do
mean,
you think those armed IRS agents are for? They're not for the 1% elite types.
No.
Those people have lawyers. Those people have private accountants that make sure that every T is crossed and I is dotted. Okay, they're getting the laws and the loopholes are made for corporations.
Yep.
They're not for them. They're for the middle class people who are struggling to pay rent right now. So that is a legitimate slap in all of our faces from this administration, and it is sickening. And you should right now be very upset with them.
Yep. So doubling back real quick, yeah, Biden said he wants to try and get Democratic majority within the Senate so that he can try and pass these blatant violations of the Constitution and infringements with these bills. Even some Democrats in the Senate who seem to be a little bit smarter than those in the House are going to vote no on the fucking thing because they know the ramifications of that. Going on from there, regarding the IRS, the last federal contract that I was on before I quit federal contracting because FJB in March, one of the sites I worked at was an IRS office for the Federal Protective Service. The public areas is where the FES contractors that I was doing, that's where we get posted. So we're screening the people going in for their appointments and everything. You know, I talked to and interacted with the CID, Criminal Investigations Division of the IRS, because there's a couple of those agents at every IRS office. They're the armed federal agents for the IRS. Standard IRS employees are not, it cannot, should not be certified to have a firearm. It's all CID agents that they're trying to hire. And of those 80-something thousand that they're trying to hire, it's only something like 30 to 50,000 of them they want to be CID agents, the armed agents that serve warrants and things like that. The rest are more auditors, more customer service reps, more analysts, more IT techs, like all that stuff. They were running Windows 7 legacy system on their computers up until about last year. They just finally started upgrading to Windows 10. That's how behind they are with their tech. Their computers are dog shit. I've seen them firsthand. They're dog shit. But it's the CID people, the Criminal Investigations Division branch of the IRS. Those are the armed federal agents that serve warrants and do all of that criminal type stuff that were working with law enforcement and things like that. They want to bolster their numbers apart from putting a lot more auditors in and things like that. And the auditors is an issue too, because they're going to go after farmers. They're going to be doing escalated audits on working class people. And yeah, you're right. They're not going after the 1%. They're going after everybody else, which is totally jacked up. Now, should strippers and stuff be paying taxes? I mean, at this point, probably make it a legitimate job and have them be paying taxes. Like, okay, yeah, we all have to pay our fair share. But at the same time, just going after middle class and farmers and low income class and everything, just because you can, and you're going to try and milk more money because the government doesn't know how to fucking spend their money and just keep taking more and more and more from us. That is completely unethical and downright illegal. I mean, taxation is theft. Let's put it out there. You know, it is in a lot of ways. It is. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mind paying a little bit of taxes to help with our national security, our legitimate national security, and certain other aspects like that. But there's a lot that I don't agree with that, and a lot of people don't. You know, I don't want my taxes going for somebody else just to have free shit. I mean, we could talk about that too when it comes to all this student loan forgiveness bullshit and everything.
I mean, he's just bribing people to vote for him now, and it's sickening. We all see it, and we all
Basically,
know what's happening. And you know, how many billions of dollars have we sent to our fucking Ukraine now? Like, isn't it time to stop that? Like, don't they? Don't
and
they?
we're sending another 1.7 billion to Taiwan right now too.
I mean, I'd assume send money to Taiwan before sending another dime to Zelensky. I mean, that guy. I have mixed feelings about him, but like, why? I don't understand. We are not doing anything productive. Meanwhile, our people here are dying.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're starving. I just was at the food bank today, not because I was eating there, because I was volunteering there. And like, people in my hometown can't afford to eat. They have to go to the food bank.
Yep.
And how is this right? Let's help people. It's absurd.
Yeah, my lady, one of her friends, who has kids, and I mean, she doesn't make a lot of money. She lives in a trailer park and stuff, her friend, and she has to go to the food bank now every once in a while. And that's the other thing, you know, with all this, with this ballooning inflation, and gas prices are not really going down. They've gone down a little bit, but they're not going down anymore. You're seeing all these different factors, even simple goods, and the cost of food and everything is going up. I've even noticed like portion sizes that they're selling in the grocery stores, like bags of like chips and stuff, like Doritos and stuff. The bags are smaller now.
They're half full now.
Yeah. Well, they've always been half full, but even the bags themselves are smaller.
Yeah.
So it's like everything like that. And we talked about this in the last video with increasing prices, especially where food has to be transported to certain regions, like on the coast or in the far desert south and things like that. The prices have gone up with food and everything, and water and other stuff. And it's nobody's getting paid more. You know, it's the inflation is not equating to what the value of the dollar is. We haven't increased the valuation of our currency. Not that we're basing it off of anything legitimate to really increase the valuation of our currency anyway. This is all zeros and ones now, which is bound to fail. I don't care who you are, you know. So there's a lot of things at play that are really, they're hurting everyone, even rich people. It is hurting them too, you know. And Biden's trying to pass a thing too, where they're going to be, I think it's like 15% now or more for taxation on the 1%. So, you know, it's not easy for them either now, because they're having way more money taken out of their pockets too.
Yeah.
The allocation of funds,
their portfolios have gone down like completely crazy. So everybody's feeling the pinch right now. I mean, it is just a struggle to survive. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, working and trying to keep your head above water is all everyone is trying to do right now. I mean, it is sad. And it's the really unfortunate thing about this is it's not just happening here at home. In fact, here at home in the States, we're actually doing better than almost anybody in the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know, look at England. They are really hurting right now. Europe, I mean, because of their arrogance, really. And that's all that it has been, is their arrogance has just crushed them. And they're also very hurt. You know, I mean, not to mention the emerging markets of the world are just slammed. And actually, I was listening to Bloomberg surveillance last night, early this morning. And this emerging market specialist was basically saying, don't touch emerging markets in your portfolio until at least 2025. They're done. They're not coming back anytime soon. And it's just apocalypse. What's going on, man? It's just really disconcerting that this is happening. I mean, quite frankly speaking, I'm starting to really become concerned about this. I really am.
Yeah, my other buddy that does trading too, he's living in Mexico right now, he's moving to Brazil this coming month. he does trading, and a former contractor friend of mine. He's an expat now and does trading, and he's worried about it too. And it's our government and European governments and stuff. They have misallocated funding. They're not spending correctly. Inflation is hurting everyone. And now with Europe too, they have these power sourcing issues. The cost of energy has skyrocketed, and that goes for the cost of petroleum too, for fuel and everything. So whether it's infrastructure energy or vehicle fuel or whatever it is, the cost has gone up even more for them than it has for us, but it's not good for us either. And it's very problematic across the board. And a lot of the market, yeah, you're right. I keep wanting to invest more in the market, but then I see what's going on and I'm like, nope, I'm going to buy silver. I'm going to buy gold, like physical.
Yeah, no, and that's smart. And it's just weird to me how usually inflationary hedge, gold, silver, precious metals are a great inflationary hedge. However, we haven't seen the returns on them that we usually would at a time like this. And people speculate that's because of Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's now under $20,000 again. So what the fuck's happening with the precious metals? We also are looking at, usually we see jobs at a level where they are right now, job openings, which is like, there's like 2 or 3 job openings for every person in the States right now. Usually that's indicative of a roaring bull market, not a fucking fierce bear market like we have right now. We've never seen this before. So there's a lot happening that literally has never been seen before. A lot of the economists at this point are simply guessing. And the really fearful thing about it is we've got portfolio managers at hedge funds and, different big banks and things like that, just literally guessing the same way that us retail traders are. So
yeah,
like you say, DJ, like you look at this and you're like, wow, fuck, like, is it really time to add to my portfolio? And, the technical training manual would say, yes, when the market's down, add, but we're all guessing at this point. Nobody knows. I mean,
yeah,
how low can it go? We don't know. Will it go down 50%? No, I really don't think so, but it could. Now, to keep everyone in the loop here, during 2008, this was the largest market crash ever seen in history besides 1929. So anyone living today, the worst we have ever seen is 2008, okay? And
I remember it fondly.
I remember it well as well, not fondly, but very
No,
well.
no.
And, the markets pulled back about 50-something% total, okay, total. And then the very next year, we started to see them rip higher. So that should give you some comfort. Right now, I think we're down, I want to say definitely not even 30%. So it's not that bad. It really isn't. But we have to remember the stock market is not the economy, and the economy is not the stock market. So whilst I want to say everything's okay in the market, yeah, sure. The people who are in the market, we will eventually be okay years from now, but the economy is what's really worrying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're not the same, but they're definitely fondling each other's genitals, so to speak. They're giving each other handies, but yeah, and that's the thing, with gold and silver and palladium and stuff. I've noticed it is at a bit of a high right now, or within that bracket of what the high has been, which is good. But is it going to climb? Is it going to recede a little bit? I mean, it's not volatile, but it does fluctuate.
Yeah, no, it has been. I have some open positions on gold right now, man, and it's not doing at all what anybody is expecting. I mean, Jim Cramer came out 2-3 weeks ago and had this whole freaking chart on gold, and it looked like it was about to start ripping, and it just didn't. It just kind
of stayed. I think part of that is when it comes to the industry side of that market, some of the gold and silver mines around the world are kind of in turmoil right now because they're in kind of tumultuous places, conflict-ridden places. The Congo is a prime example, along with South Africa and some other places where there are major gold mines and things, and precious mineral mines and metals mines and stuff. The quality of life for those employees is not great. You see a lot of employee strikes and things like that going on, worker strikes going on in those places. and the rate of product coming out of those mines, the refineries and stuff, has declined a little bit. There's still a lot coming out, but it has declined a little bit,
It's a very
partially
good.
because of regional, geopolitical, social, civil conflicts and things like that going on. So
I'm glad you told me that.
yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see a big decline. At least I don't think you will. If that's the case, that's great. Once it drops, I'm gonna buy a fuckload of it, wait for it to come back up. But yeah, that's part of the industry infrastructure and logistics side of it. That's kind of what's happening. So that, and just shipping it places, the issues
Yeah.
with transportation and shipping right now, that's another factor.
Apocalypse says he just dropped a little bit on some yen, which is probably a good idea, honestly, man. I've been liking that trade for a little while now. I would like to get into Forex myself.
I do like the yen and the Japanese market. The thing is, it's primarily tech oriented, and that's a good and bad thing. Obviously tech is a huge need, and it's always going to be this ever evolving thing, and a commodity within the modern world and everything. But at the same time, much like what China did with real estate, Japan has done with IT, or in the technology sector in large and things like that. It's a broad sector, but pigeonholing themselves within that sector like that, it's hard to explain, but there needs to be more diversity. There needs to be more diversity with it. They have some involvement with fishery and things like that too, but a lot of it's IT in the tech industry for them. And it's a pigeonhole. It's a wide pigeonhole, but it's still a pigeonhole. So there is still some limitations to it. I guess that's the way I see it.
I think I don't know too much about Forex. I know that the yen has not been performing the way that anyone thought that it would. I would really like to learn more on this, and I probably should. But I will say that Apocalypse, I like where your head's at, man. He's going to try to buy some land over there.
I wonder how difficult that is. Huh.
Well, Apocalypse, don't forget. I mean, I'll keep his anonymity, but he's Japanese, so makes more sense.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
I always like dealing with the Japanese. That's actually one of my favorite cultures. And
they're wonderful people.
the whole
Wonderful
samurai thing, yeah, no, you can't beat it, man.
I love the food. Can't lie.
I can't get any good sushi where I'm at, man. It be in the middle of the desert, you just can't fucking get it.
Another logistical issue, man. It's a problem all over the place.
I was in Vegas last week, and I had some out fucking standing sushi at Sushi Samba. I don't know if you ever heard of this place. It's like Brazilian and Japanese fusion. Fucking delicious.
There's like 2 or 3 really good sushi places here in my area that I really like. You're right, John.
What do you say? And I don't get that.
Japanese women.
Oh, yes, very much so. Very much so.
Hi.
I'll check that out, Apocalypse. So let's see. What else is on? Oh, Kirsten, what's going on? Zelensky's taking back some of his neighborhoods here.
There's been a gradual buildup and movement of Ukrainian forces to the Kherson area. And for those that don't know, Ukraine. Okay, so let's say this is Crimea down here. Okay, Ukraine. You got the major river. Okay, you got the river. You've got Donetsk, and then kind of down here is Kherson. Okay, and it's one of the major cities that crosses the massive river in Ukraine. That's what's separating. That's basically the partial natural buffer between Russian controlled area and Ukrainian controlled area is that river. Is it the Dnieper River? I can't ever remember the name of it. So Kherson is one of the major cities that is on that river. And there's been a gradual increase in buildup of forces and movement of forces from Mykolaiv, which is another major city just north of Kherson that the Ukrainians have held. And they're moving through Mykolaiv down towards Kherson and taking back some of the towns and stuff. They have started a counteroffensive onto the outside rings of the city of Kherson. It's a pretty big city. So there is a counteroffensive going on. The Ukrainians are working to take it back, along with some of the other towns and villages where the Russians do have control still on that side of on just that side of the river. That's going to be a long battle. It's a big city, and with the tactical movement and the logistics and everything, there's only a couple of ways to get across that river without doing boat pontoon river crossing and stuff, using the bridges in Kherson, which a couple of them have been destroyed. I think there might be one, maybe two standing, and then the Russians have constructed some pontoons across the river. But yeah, the counteroffensive began, I want to say probably about 24 hours ago, somewhere in there. But it's going to be a long fight. I mean, it's going to take them at least a week or more to be able to gain any type of competent hold within at least a portion of the half of the city. So it's going to be a big fight. There's a lot of people and moving parts involved and stuff. When it comes to the U.S. supply of equipment and NATO and coalition supply of equipment to Ukrainians, they have been using it well. They've been using the HIMARS systems extremely well. Obviously, we've seen what they can do with the javelins and the Stingers and the Inglas and everything else. And we're sending them a new mobile air defense and radar and targeting system that can target and track mortar and artillery fire after the first round. So basically, like if a small Russian unit or if Russian units on their line of buffer start shooting off mortars, the system will pick up, alert about those rounds in the air, and will pinpoint where they are on the ground, where they launched them from, and then almost immediately can fire countermeasures, HIMARS included, to counterattack those launch and attack points. Extremely advanced system. It only takes 5 minutes to set up and 2 minutes to take down and relocate.
Wow.
We are way ahead of everyone when it comes to that kind of tech. The fact that we're giving them that advanced of a system that I don't know if we've ever even used before. I don't know if we ever used it in Afghanistan or anything. I know we didn't use it in Iraq. That's a new and advanced system. The fact that they're getting them, that's going to be a huge game changer, but also it's going to be a proof of concept to see how well it actually works.
Yeah.
You know, in a combat application. Like, so that's going to be huge. But so I mean, there's a lot of things working in Ukraine's favor with the provision of everything that we've given them and stuff. At this point, with the last little bit that we're going to give them and stuff, I mean, it's up to them to be able to finish the job for themselves.
I do worry quite a bit about this stuff finding its hands over to the Middle East, though.
Well, you know, and you see all the major, like, you know, defense expos and stuff around the globe. You see them in the UAE and Saudi Arabia and in the US and other places, you know, where all these major companies, you know, Lockheed and the various Saudi and UAE defense companies and stuff, they all have these giant expos and they're showing off the newest, latest, greatest shiny rocket and firearm and armored vehicle and all that. Like, they're major expos, and they're trying to get country clients. They're trying to get government clients and buyers for their weapons and technology. So it depends on what the U.S. wants to do with it. You know, is with the F-35 fighter jet and the 3 different variants that we have, we're only giving that to a couple of companies. Countries. There's only a couple of countries that have bought them and that we're giving them to. We haven't given anyone an F-22. Nobody's gotten an F-22 outside of the U.S. I don't know if the UK might have. I don't even know if the UK got any. If anything, it was U.S. units stationed in the UK with them. But the F-22 Raptor, still very, very relevant aircraft. But with the F-35s, even them, we're being very selective on who we give them to and sell them to and everything. With this modern detection and targeting mobile system, radar system and stuff, we need to be very choosy with that too. Same with HIMARS and everything else. We need to be very, very careful and choosy about who we sell these to outside of our country and our very close friends.
Well, yeah, what I mean exactly. What I mean is, these fucking Ukrainians, they're poor. What's to stop some terrorists going over there and saying, you want to sell me some of this and doing a back alley deal and going back to freaking Algeria or whatever the fuck, like it's
right.
It will happen. I mean, it will eventually happen.
Oh, yeah. Inevitably, and it happened. It's happened with other stuff. I mean, look at what happened to our MRAPs and stuff that were in Afghanistan when the shit show happened last year.
Yeah.
At least 30 of them made their way to Iran. So they're probably reverse engineering them and going, okay, we can build them now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're still not going to be as well made, but still, it's like, like that or a number of other things, including helicopters and stuff that we fucking left there and gave the Afghans. Same with the Iraqis, some of the ISIS dudes got a hold of our Humvees and shit, so yeah, it is going to happen with that kind of stuff. Ukrainians need to be very careful with the stuff that we're giving them so that the Russians don't get a hold of some of those really advanced pieces of equipment like HIMARS and stuff.
Yeah.
Cannot let them get into enemy hands. Thankfully, with those systems, they can stay far back behind direct line of a direct engagement line and safely fire their missiles from 200 miles away. So, there is that. But at the same time, we just have to be careful of who we're giving them to, and whoever does get them needs to be very proactive in preventing them from getting in enemy hands. And you look at with China too, you have to look at China. They have been able to reverse engineer some of our stuff because idiots in charge here decided to go, hey, we'll just have some of this stuff outsourced and produced in China for us to use in our equipment. And then China figured it out. Or they got the blueprints for it and they just stole the blueprints. That's what happens. So, especially a major player like that, a major adversarial force like that, we just can't do those kinds of dealings with them. And even with Saudi Arabia and the US right now, their relationship is pretty fractured right now. It's not a great relationship right now. We have given the Saudis a lot of stuff. F-15 Strike Eagles, you name it, they have them. And
yeah, they're using it all in Yemen right now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a problem because now we have this fractured relationship, and there's already a portion of Saudi Arabia that's extremist. A lot of extremist supporters in Saudi Arabia. And if it escalates anymore, any other issues arise, that stuff's going to get turned and used on our coalition partners or us. So
one of my favorite movies, actually, this is probably my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies is Syriana with George Clooney.
Love that movie.
Fucking great movie.
So good.
Oh,
and
man.
Accurate. It is.
Yeah, 100% fucking accurate.
It is.
Yeah.
That and Body of Lies. That was another good one.
Oh man, that was a great one.
Yeah, with Leo. Yeah, that's a good one too, man.
Oh yeah. Man, there were so many great around that time period, man. There was a lot of really great like Middle East movies that were made.
Yeah.
And then we can't forget what's the old classic one with De Niro. The Boathouse, Hereford, The Boathouse.
Ronin.
Fuck. Oh yeah, Ronin, man.
Ronin.
I mean, that was classic.
Oh,
yeah,
love it. Classic, man. Yeah, and I mean, even you even look at like older movies like The French Connection and stuff. I mean, just the accuracy of them. Or another of my favorites, actually about British MI5, MI6, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And it really gives you a deeper understanding of the spy, espionage, and intelligence world. It fucking such a good movie.
There was one made, I watched it, man, when I was coming home from doing my surveillance course in England. And it was about the German spy intelligence agency. And it was with this old actor. He's old, big guy. I fucking forget his name. But I think he's actually Irish or English. But the movie was so good. I don't remember the name, but it was all about just this I think it was German intelligence officer over in, maybe it was in Germany. I think it was set in Germany, and just all about how they work. It was super cool. I'll have to look it up one day, but that was a
Yeah, I
good
would
one.
say I'm gonna.
Circa 2018, something like that.
I'll look it up right now while we're talking.
Yeah. But man, there's been some really good spy movies made, and
Yeah.
that's just that they don't make movies like that anymore. And part of the reason is because they have to be so beholden to China. I mean, the Chinese give Hollywood so much fucking money, or at least I don't know if they do right now, but they used to. And for a while, it really ruined the way that movies were being made because they had to worry about Chinese censorship and shit like that. Not to
Right.
mention, not to mention the whole woke culture just ruined shit as well. But man, I really think that what we are seeing right now play out before our eyes is like a whole movie in itself. It's like a James Bond. Yeah, exactly. Ronan, Ed Lee. And exactly, John, it's like a James Bond movie. I mean, with the supervillains and all, like, and you could even say the shadowy elite working behind the scenes to steer the world in a certain direction. That's all happening right now. It's all playing out exactly like a fucking Bond movie. And let's not forget that we're all characters in this movie. So be the good guy. Don't be the super villain. Be the good guy, and let's all fight the new world order together, guys. And let's really concentrate our superpowers, because everyone in here is pretty much the same way. Let's all use what we got for good. Okay. I'm not trying to be corny here, but let's all use our powers for good. And always remember that everything that we do and we talk about inside here on these, especially on these intelligence updates, it's all for spreading that knowledge. And anyway, we really have to remember to help our fellow man right now and channel our energy towards good. Don't let it get wrapped up in all the bullshit. Do you find what that movie was?
Well, there's a couple. I don't know. Was it maybe like Operation Mincemeat or I don't think a Most Wanted Man was about German spy. That's another good spy movie though with Philip Seymour Hoffman. I don't know. It came up with a few, but none of them really like ring a bell.
Yeah, I had never heard of it before, and I've never seen it since. I think it might have been. No, maybe not. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. No. Huh.
Yeah,
Nah.
I don't know. No, I can't remember what Operation Mincemeat was about. It's been a minute since I've seen that one. Another good one. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good movies like that out there.
Yeah.
The Courier is kind of a newer one, and that was about starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's spying for NATO, going in and out of Russia, and like being a courier. I don't know. Yeah, that was a more recent one. I picked that up on DVD. That was really good. Yeah, no, there's been a bunch. I need to get Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Actually, I don't have that one.
Oh, you know what was a really good one with what's his name? Matt Damon was The Good Shepherd.
Yep, another good one. See, there's and some of them, yeah, you can gain some good information from, tips, tricks, techniques. There's some tradecraft in those movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the one thing I really liked about Good Shepherd was it's what we always talk about, right? William Donovan and the OSS and how that formed into the CIA. It really does a good job of giving that background and fascinating stuff. Yeah, Ed, I wish they did make more Tom Clancy movies, man. Like Harrison Ford fucking ones, like Hunt for Red October was really good, but the ones before that, what am I thinking of with Sean Bean, and he's the IRA is trying to kill Harrison Ford. Anyway, those were good ones.
Oh yeah. Well, there's like Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games.
Patriot Games is the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Fantastic movies. Fantastic. They don't make cinema like they used to. Like every once in a while, you get a banger movie that comes out, but it ain't.
Did you see Top Gun 2?
Not the whole thing, but I've seen it in enough clips where I've seen the whole movie. So
it was everyone
okay.
was telling me, well, you got to go see it, got to go see it. So I did, and I wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest with you. I really,
No, I wasn't. I mean, there was there was parts of it that was nice little nostalgia
yeah.
bits and things like that, but yeah, overall, no, doesn't compare to the first one. It
The
really doesn't.
whole theme about how we have to fight Iran was like a little disconcerting for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when I mean in the first Top Gun, who the fuck were the enemy fighters
Russia.
in the first Top Gun? No, they
Yeah, yeah. It was during the Cold War, man. We were fighting Russia.
were they Russian?
They were Russian MiGs, bro.
No, I can't remember, but yeah,
I just watched it again before I saw Top Gun 2. And I was struck because at the end they like go and there's like, US fighter planes versus Russian fighter planes. And I'm like, how did they? And then at the end they said that, oh, Russia denied all responsibility, this and that.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's been a hot minute since I've watched the first one. I mean, I have it. I've watched it a lot in the past, but yeah.
Great movie. I mean, you can't beat
Oh
Top
yeah.
Gun.
No, it's fantastic movie. Fantastic movie.
DJ, what's going on around the world besides for all this? I mean, we've covered the Middle East where, we looked at that a little bit. I know Israel's kind of jockeying to get a piece of Iran, which they always have been. What anything else happening that we should be aware of?
So with Israel, there's been escalated fighting with the Palestinians and in Gaza and everything. That's increased. There's been some airstrikes and stuff lately. Israel doing Israel,
Yeah.
and Hezbollah and Hamas doing their thing, so nothing too new there besides just continued fighting that just kind of kicks off every once in a while.
It's always around time too. It's always around the fall.
It is. Yeah, it is. And then the conflict in Myanmar, formerly Burma, that's increased with the rebel forces fighting the government military junta and all that, with actually a couple of incidences where Burmese Myanmar fighter planes accidentally attacked civilian areas in Thailand right across the border. A couple of accidents there, and Myanmar's just going, we're sorry. That's pretty much it. Thailand wasn't very happy about it, and we have yet to see if there's going to be any repercussions for that. But the fighting there in Myanmar has gotten pretty bad. Looking at Africa, I mean, a lot of the conflicts are still going on. Central African Republic, the Congo, Ethiopia, Sudan, Mali, Nigeria, Chad, Somalia, Libya, instability in Egypt, still some instability in Jordan, even though they're trying to kind of stabilize in Jordan. A lot of civil wars going on.
That reminds me, DJ. I'll send you an email later, but I'm going to need a threat assessment on Amman, Jordan. Could you help us out with that?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I can help with that. Yeah, no. I've never been to Amman. I would like to go. I've met some Jordanian students that were here on like a work experience exchange kind of program, and they're really nice. But
Jordanians are great people, man. Amman is a good city too. It's parts of it are very westernized. Parts of it.
That's what I could tell, especially talking to it too, because some of them had amazing English and had no problem talking with them and everything, and they seem to wear a little more westernized clothing than some of the other students. But as far as a threat assessment, no problem. I can help you get that. But yeah, so that's going on there. Just a lot of civil war still going on in Africa, apart from the encroachment of, like we talked about it before, extremism and its influence. As it's not just Somalia and then Chad and Nigeria and Mali where we're seeing terrorist extremists and like Libya and stuff. It's starting to creep into Morocco a little bit, and it's creeped into centralized jungle region of Africa. Uganda is starting to see an extremism issue, and some of the Islamic extremist rebel groups in Western Uganda are also going into the DRC and the CAR, Central African Republic and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So it's spreading, and it's a problem. You know, the Congolese government already has their hands full fighting the rebel groups and everything, especially in the east of the country, but through the whole country. This on top of it is just creating more problems, not just for them, but for everyone. Ugandan government and military needs to get on it. Rwandans need to get on it because they're right next door. And where there's already ongoing conflicts in the CAR, the DRC right next door to the West, it's just going to get worse. So yeah, things are not great in a lot of places in Africa right now, unfortunately. There could be a lot of opportunity if people wanted to take a little trip and provide some services, but outside of that, it's there's a lot of hot zones over there, so people need to be careful and just have to keep monitoring it. Central and South America, obviously the cartel wars going on. Still some political instability and issues with the FARC guerrillas going on in Colombia. Venezuela is Venezuela. Obvious problems still going on there. Cuba's been making some threats lately, which is kind of laughable. Their intelligence sector is okay. Their military's dog shit. They don't have much of a military, enough to oppress their own people. They don't have the means to even attack freaking Dominican Republic. What the hell? Like, so it's yeah, that's a lot of bark from them. Kind of same with the Nicaraguans too. Other than that, you know, just some countries' issues with, you know, insular government problems, corruption, things like that. Unfortunately, fairly typical for that part of the world. Other than that, well, we had talked about like the Netherlands and stuff last time. Still some protests going on. Still a lot of pushback going on there. With all the craziness going on with their ag industry and the economy and their government being idiots. That's really all I can think of right now, right off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, that's the good thing about doing these bi-weekly intelligence updates, you know, is we do get around to what's going on in the world at a good clip, at a good pace. And, you know, we are going to continue doing this. And I think bi-weekly is probably the best way to do it. And, you know, there's just so much going on right now that we have to stay updated on it. And we also should be keeping watch on what the sun is doing. The solar flares have really been acting up. We should be keeping an eye on, you know, all of the droughts going on. I know, DJ, you sent me a couple of things about China and the Yangtze River there drying up. And
yeah,
it's pretty impressive the way that, you know, not to mention 110, 120 degree heat in China. You know, to me, it almost seems like God's punishing them, which good. You know? But,
we really didn't cover China all that much this time. But yeah, I had sent you those things. Yeah, and I had talked about this before because China is on the brink of a famine. And now that water supplies are drying up and water levels have significantly decreased, like what we're seeing with Lake Mead and stuff here in the States, it's happening in China and around the globe. And they've had crop death and, you know, the extreme heat. Again, a lot like many other places around the world, it's only something like 30% of all households have aircon, you know, so it's, you know, they've really screwed the pooch for themselves, and you know, it's hurting them. So
yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot going on in China, and there is a channel that I really like called Laut Y. And this guy used to live over there until the Chinese tried to kidnap him. He had to flee to Hong Kong and then back to the States. He does a really good job at keeping everyone up to date what's going on there. There's a number of other channels that I can recommend. I'd have to look them up. One of them is China in Focus, which I know, DJ, you're a big fan of China in Focus.
Yep.
And then there's another one which I recently discovered, China Today, I think it's called. But a lot of really good channels out there to keep yourself abreast of what's going on in China. And I would recommend that you do so because it's a key player and it's very important what's happening there right now. We're definitely going to continue to track what's going on with Taiwan because, like you said in the last intel update, I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and make a move on it. Now, you know, they could go one of two ways. They could back off or they could not, and they could try to take it. We're just going to have to wait and see. But if Russia and what happened with Ukraine is any indication on what might happen with Taiwan in the future, we'll definitely have to keep a sharp eye on it. We will continue to monitor the Ukrainian war, what's going on there, and then certainly everything going on here. You know, I've noticed in the city where I live a sharp uptick in shootings and stabbings and even fist fights. So people are losing their shit, and it's not going to stop. So stay frosty out there, guys. Keep your heads on a fucking swivel. If you can carry a weapon, because people are just, they've lost it, and it's only going to get worse from here. So
Yep. People are getting more and more desperate, and with some of the insane policies, especially in certain states, and the leniency towards criminality and everything, it's a problem right now. So everyone definitely stay frosty. And when it comes to Taiwan and Ukraine, yeah, we're gonna monitor them and keep updated on those things. But people have to remember, if it can happen in those places, it can happen here. So make sure you have your ducks in a row and have a plan in place. Okay.
yeah, and by the way, guys, I'll be, speaking of that, I'll be at One Shepherd this fall. If any of you, I mean, it's too late to join and sign up now, but if any of you are interested in the next coming semester, that's going to be the spring semester, all right, get in touch with me. I will help you sign up. I will help you get registered, and we will train together there. I highly recommend that you guys do this. I recommend One Shepherd because it's frankly the best of the best that you can do. If you want to learn how to fight, if you want to learn how to lead, then get signed up and go to at least one semester. And if you need any help, email me, gutterfightingsecrets@gmail.com. I will help you sign up. I am literally taking people that I know and pushing them through the pipeline because I feel that strongly about it. We need more men and women trained on this stuff, period. So get your ass in gear. If you're not going out there and training, hey, again, send me an email. You want to go and train somewhere? If I know you, okay, like, you know, Ed, Apocalypse, any of our guys in here that I personally know, get in touch with me. We'll go and train together, okay? Because I'm trying to put together my training pipeline for the winter. And, you know, DJ, I'm sure we're going to meet up at some point and do some training somewhere. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend, me and DJ would love to see you guys out there. We're not going to be doing any seminars, but we are going to be trying to meet up with some of our friends from YouTube here and get, you know, get it. So.
Yep. Yeah, I'm still on the fence about Winter Forge. I'd like to come down for it. It just depends on where I'm at, what I'm doing, and what my finances look like, and if I can get the time off for it. One Shepherd's fantastic though. I actually referred a couple of other guys for the Alpha Company, Virginia. I referred them over there too, because like some of them are putting up, you know, gun videos and stuff, and it's like, okay, you're doing good on some things, and you know, and all that, but you need to learn how to like move and communicate and things like that. So I pointed them over there. I'm like, go train with these guys, you know, get yourself up to snuff. And good organization.
Even after one semester, they're going to be more up to snuff than any, you know, than most. So that's the way to go.
Yep.
But listen, guys, I got a lot of pre-market research to do. I got a lot of stuff I'm going to need to take care of this evening before I, hit the rack. So Deej, thanks for coming back on, man.
Thanks for having me, as always, brother.
Pleasure. All right, guys, until next time, please remember that you were your first and last line of defense, and
stay adaptive and stay lethal, folks. Have a plan.
We will see you in the next